Jesus and Buddha fighting each other? This game is crazy. Hello everyone, my name is Adam and welcome to TimeLag Gaming. I want to thank Digital Crafter for sending me a review copy so I can get a review out for you early. Before I get into the review, I want to address that this is a very controversial game. However, the creators of the game are open about this, and they genuinely are not trying to disrespect any religion or entity represented in this game. In fact, every time you load up the game, a screen appears saying, "This work of fiction was inspired by cultures and stories from around the world. The team has no intention of offending any persons, and the utmost respect was given during development." Also, for the main part of the review, I'm going to disregard the controversy and focus on the technical aspects. Then, I will address and discuss the controversial parts at the end. Fight of Gods is a 2D fighting game set in a parallel universe where gods, holy spirits, and mythological characters throughout history are summoned together to fight in the ultimate contest. The game features 13 very diverse and unique fighters. I am generally not a huge fan of 2D fighting games, but I realize that each fighter is very important. The character selection in this game is what makes it so unique and different. You've probably never played any fighting game quite like this before. Every single character is vastly different than the next. They each have their own movesets, their own special intro animations, their own special attacks, combos, stages, and so on. Each one of these fighters has an extensive history and lore in real life, so there is a lot of inspiration that's gone into each one of their moves. There is no unlocking characters, which I was disappointed by at first, but you can unlock different colors and skins for each character. This makes you want to go through the main campaign with every fighter multiple times to unlock everything. So yes, there is a good amount of content here. I am impressed by the number and variety of the fighters in the roster. The gameplay has just enough depth to it. It is very fun, well balanced, and has a nice difficulty curve to it. Firstly, you have your basic moves as well as using your moves in addition to jumping or crouching. Then you have your combos, but you also have a special gauge that fills up when taking damage, and a special gauge that fills up when giving lots of damage. All of these different ways to attack really keep the gameplay interesting, and it is surprisingly easy to remember everything. The computer AI is actually very good. At first it can be easy, but then it keeps getting harder the more fighters you go through. You'll notice that some fighters are stronger than others, but there are not any that are overpowered. The only aspect of the gameplay that I was a little confused on is how to block attacks. I can't find how to do this. I think I've done it accidentally, and I thought I saw the CPUs do it, but I'm not exactly sure. Now let's get into the graphics. The character models all have lots of detail to them, and while they aren't super high resolution, they get the job done. The animations for each different attack and special for all the characters are smooth. The resolution of the game is good while playing docked, but you can't expect too much from the graphics as this is an indie title from a small team. So while everything does appear sharp, there's not much when it comes to textures, especially for the backgrounds of the stages. But there is a big problem with the graphics, and that is while playing in handheld mode. Something about the downscaling that occurs from the TV to handheld play makes it look horrible. I captured some footage in handheld play through the built-in screen recording of the Switch, so you can see what I'm talking about. This graphical issue, however, is only during gameplay and just applies to character models. Everything else, the UI and the characters outside of gameplay, are very sharp and clear. What makes this strange is when a fighter does one of their special attacks, with the animation, the character model turns high resolution again while the animation occurs. This graphical issue can be super jarring when switching between high-res graphics to pixelated, blurry characters. This issue can likely be fixed through optimization and future updates though. One aspect I was very surprised about is the music. There is a different music track for every stage and every song is actually really good. There are even a few standout tracks that got stuck in my head. Now onto the different modes and settings. The arcade mode faces you against many fighters, one after the other. This mode is a single player campaign. You can choose between many different difficulty settings. Each fight is best out of 3, and if you lose, you can restart the current fight without losing your progress in the arcade. After you beat all of your opponents, there is a boss that you have to fight. The Versus mode is where you can play against a friend with local multiplayer. This mode works well and is actually a lot of fun. In Versus mode, you can control how many rounds you do and the time. In this mode, you can also fight against CPUs as well. You can even have CPUs fight each other to see who will win. The training mode really does a good job at helping you learn how to fight. I am terrible at fighting games, and I always have a hard time remembering what buttons do what and what combos do what. But the ways that the controls are laid out, in combination with the fantastic training mode and having a moveset list easily accessible, really makes the game easy to learn. That being said, it is still definitely challenging to master the game. The left face button is marked as L or light attack. The top face button is marked as M for medium attack. And the right face button is marked as H for hard attack. This makes it very easy to remember because you go from light to medium to hard as you go from left to right on the face buttons. Also, the down face button is grab or throw. The controls are solid and you can fully customize them if you wish. Also, the game is definitely easier when using the D-pad. Even the D-pad buttons on the Joy-Con are actually easier than using the analog stick. The Biography menu is a really nice touch to the game. It simply gives you more information and background on every fighter. It tells you their background from religion or mythology, as well as giving you details on what type of character they are, heavy, light, etc. And it also tells you what their special attacks do. One thing I wanted to mention is I did not run into any bugs or glitches, which is really good for a fighting game. I also didn't notice any lag or frame rate stuttering. Now let's talk about the controversy. As I said before, I don't think the dev team was trying to be disrespectful for including religious figures. I genuinely think they mean no disrespect and don't mean to offend anyone. However, I can definitely see how people would take everything in this game the wrong way. I do have a religious background and I can understand how somebody might be upset by this game and the characters in it. So this game definitely isn't for everybody. I honestly think it's kind of cool though to play as these religious entities. But at the same time, it does feel a little disrespectful doing so. In conclusion, Fight of Gods offers a one-of-a-kind fighting experience. It has a uniquely diverse roster of characters, easy to learn controls, deep combat, addicting gameplay, difficulty settings for every type of gamer, and it's a great multiplayer experience. This game is actually really good. And that is saying something because I don't normally like these 2D style fighting games. The only real problem I have with the game is the graphics while playing in handheld, which could be fixed in an update. I also wished it was more clear how to block attacks. And I have to be honest, I think the price is a little steep at $13. I think the perfect price for this game would have been $10. But worth is subjective, and those who love fighting games would probably find this game completely worth it. So I give this game a standard rating of 7.5 out of 10, and a worth rating of 10 out of 13. I am really curious to hear your thoughts on this game. Would you ever consider picking up this game? Do you find offense to it? Does it look like a quality game to you? Let me know your take in the comments down below. Thanks again for watching.